guys, in this video we're going to be talking about the Polar Pro Summit filter system. This is called the Base Camp. I got this back in January and I would have loved to have been able to shoot a lot more with this, but to be honest with you, the weather in Ontario was absolute garbage, even up till now. Although while I was in Vegas at WPPI this year, I did get a chance to utilize it there. So I've only really used this system the way I wanted to use it once in the past 5-6 months. When I got back from Vegas, obviously you guys know we are all in basically lockdown in our homes right now until this whole COVID-19 thing kind of goes over. But anyway, this is it's for landscape photographers. It's a filter system that can hold 3 different styles of filters. The first one is a circular polarizer, and that sits on the inside, this guy right here. That sits on the inside of the filter system. So if I can do this, pop that in. And how you move this around is with this little gear system here. Basically that just spins like that. The second type of filter that this holds is a neutral density filter. This one is a 3-stop neutral density filter. And the third is a gradient filter. So again, you can get many different types. Polar Pro's got a bunch of different styles. This one is a 3-stop soft grad, and I'm sure you can pretty much order this thing the way that you want it. You can actually customize your kit to exactly your shooting needs or what you require. So again, mainly for landscape photography. So why do I want it? I'm not a landscape photographer. Well, portrait photographer. I love doing environmental portraits. But another thing that I really love doing is getting things as correct as I can in the camera, as opposed to trying to post-produce everything after the fact. So, circular polarizer, what do they do? Well, they take glare out of water, they take glare out of buildings, reflective surfaces, they control the glare that you see on that. What they also do is they add contrast into skies. So it makes the blues bluer, it makes the clouds more punchy, just adds that much more drama. The neutral density filter, this one being a 3-stop, I'm going to talk about that one in a second actually. This one's the next one, it's easiest to explain. The grad filter, obviously this is going to take out highlights in the skies. A lot of times you're exposing for your subject, and if you're shooting during the day, that makes your clouds or your skies completely blown out. So this way I can control within 3 stops, or the gradient equivalent of, depending on where the subject is in relation to the sky, I can really bring down those highlights and get more detail again. Just increases, it's not increasing the dynamic range, but it's more controlling the dynamic range of what we have inside the camera. The neutral density filter, this one being a 3-stop, I love shooting with strobes. There's a couple of different challenges that you have. So I do like shooting with a shallow depth of field as well. With that, and you're shooting with strobes during the day, you're going to have to bring yourself into high-speed sync because of your shutter speed. So what a neutral density filter can do is you can bring your camera back within your sync speed, so that you're getting more power out of your flash because it's not going on as many times. It's not pulsating through the actuation of the shutter. It's giving one bounce or one blast of flash. That's going to save your battery power, but also your flash is much more powerful if you keep within that sync speed. I'm sure every system's different, but with my Elinchrom, it's almost about a stop and a half to almost 2 stops of light that you lose, going from 1/200th of a second up to 1/320th of a second. So it's really good for that, and that's another reason why I like using those. And in fact, I use these other filters as well. These Peter McKinnon, this is the 2 to 5 stop variable filter. So when I'm not using something like this system, I would use this so I can keep within my sync speed. And it's just going to save power, and it's going to make your flash more powerful. So While we were at WPPI, we went out to Death Valley with my friends Jen and Travis. They're celebrating their 10th year wedding anniversary, so we thought we'd go and get some shots for them. And so the first day being out in Death Valley, of course we wanted to shoot both Jen and Travis, but we were having so much fun just shooting Jen, and Travis was having a great time. He's being my lighting assistant and of course taking his own shots as well. So I think we really came out with some really nice single bride portraits for her. So I'm just going to cycle through a couple of those and I'll explain what I've done in relation to using this system. So attaching this filter system onto your camera is done with an adapter ring. So I've got an 82 and a 77. You can just grab like the largest millimeter size for whatever your largest camera is, and then probably use just step down rings. But you know, I just decided for the price of it, most of my lenses, because I'm going to the RF system, most of the RF lenses seem to be either 82 or 77. So I just grabbed two. And this thing just screws on to your camera lens, much like we have on this. This is the 77, this is the RF 70 to 200. So then this just attaches to your camera or to your lens like that, and it's got a little snap here. You can see that right there. And that just screws into place, and then you can lock it actually into place as well, which is really kind of handy. You don't want the thing flopping down if you have your grad out like this for some reason, and you know, it just kind of flops down, or if you're moving portrait to landscape, you know, it can tend to wobble around a little bit. So you just lock it into place, and that goes with the filters as well. They just have two little knobs at the side right there, and those are used to lock the filters in place. So if you inadvertently go upside down, you're not going to drop your filter on the rocks and smash a very expensive filter. So one of the things that I found with this when I was shooting the portraits, let's just go into a situation where I was shooting the portrait and she's standing kind of right in front of me here. The sun's coming in from this angle, kind of where my lighting is right now. I could move this filter system just off to the side, and then I can actually adjust where I want the grad to hit. And what that does is that's going to help control the blown out highlights in the skies. Also, if I'm flashing her as well, or using a strobe on her, not flashing her, that would be one way to get a laugh out of them. It's going to help with the gradient of the flash as well, keeping more of a consistent light on my subject. So where this also came in really handy was the second day. Travis, Jen, and I, we walked around the Vegas Strip, and this time I didn't have my Ellen Crom system, which is a 500 watt second light. I only had my speed light, one speed light, because we wanted to kind of go, you know, run and gun, quick and mobile, and we didn't want to draw too much attention. And of course, if you're in Vegas with the bride and groom, you've got attention all over you. Thankfully enough, it wasn't all that busy at the Strip that day, so we managed to come away with some really nice photos. So I'm going to do a more in-depth review of this thing as I get more experience with it. But like I said, we've had absolute crap weather in Ontario up until, well, even now it's just horrible. And then we've been in lockdown since March, so haven't really had a lot of chance to shoot with it yet. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, subscribe, like, all that wonderful jazz. Talk to you guys soon. Stay safe.